And this is a social deduction game where players are going to be assigned roles in secret at the start of the game, and the different roles could be an investigator where you're trying to eliminate the cultists, or you could be a cultist where you're trying to eliminate the investigator. But if you're the cultist, you can also try to identify who the seer is, and if you're able to do that, that's an alternative way to win the game. But there's only ever one seer player in the game, and that player is going to know all information. They're going to know exactly who are the investigators and who are the cultists. But a neat aspect of this game that you don't see in a lot of other social deduction games is that it does actually have a board, and players will be moving around on the board, interacting with it and interacting with the players that they run into. Because on your turn, you're going to have 3 movement points to move about the board, but you can only end your movement on certain rooms depending on the route card that was dealt to you at the start of the game. Each player's route card will show icons for the rooms that you're allowed to move into on your turn, and it's going to list these icons for each of the rounds that occur in the game. But the catch here is that the cultists are actually allowed to ignore this card and move into any of the rooms that they'd like. And if a player ends their turn in a room where another player is already located, then you're going to be able to trade cards with that player, and you'll be able to give them either an alive card or a dead card. And I'll come back to the purpose of these cards in a second here, but after you've had your movement and performed an encounter, if you're in a room with another player, then you're going to be drawing a random event card from the event deck and playing it out depending on what it says. And these events can do different things like reveal secret passageways for the players to utilize, or they can even cut power to the building, which can affect the way certain actions unfold. And then you're going to move into your character or room action. You can only choose to do one of these. If there's a character in the same room as you, then you can check the cards in their hand, and if they do have a dead card, then that player is considered dead for the rest of the game. They're not eliminated from the game, but they do turn into a ghost which has limited actions. But the cultists know who the other cultists are, and if they look into another cultist deck and they do see a dead card, they can choose to ignore it and lie, and then that will allow that other player to remain alive. But if you stop on a room with no other player, or if you decide to do a room action instead, then you're going to have a few different choices here. You can either explore the room by drawing its card and resolving it, or you can perform specific room actions which will allow you to modify the decks of certain rooms, restore power to the building, or even trigger a vote to assassinate a specific player. There's also some other rooms with some different actions and effects, but after the player has performed their actions, then you move on to the cleanup phase, where the round resets and the players get to take their turns again. And the game continues like this until either the cultists or the investigators are eliminated, and then whichever one is left wins the game. And if you're interested in this or any other campaigns I mentioned in this video, I have links in the description below.